Good afternoon. We're just on the Queen of Cumberland on our way back from another very productive day in constituency meetings, this time on Main Island. We're just getting to the end of 2017 and just doing some wrap-up meetings as we get closer to the end of the meeting. Last night we hosted our second community dialogue session. The topic of discussion was the innovation economy. I've done quite a bit of writing on this. It's been an issue that the BC Greens have raised, especially with the Emerging Economy Task Force and the Innovation Commissioner being a central part of the confidence and supply agreement that the BC NDP government has brought into force and will start to roll out in the new year. I also did a statement on this, and you can see it on my website. We had a community dialogue. It was a really great event. 25 or 26 community members came into our office. It was a full house. We had a really good conversation and got a perspective from our constituents, from business owners, and as well had a good complement of local government councillors. And so we got a really well-rounded perspective on what people's thoughts were on the changing economy. The conversation was quite broad. We didn't get much into the details, but I did get a good perspective about what people were thinking about innovation, about disruption in the marketplace, whether or not we're talking about fair or level entrance, a level playing field for disruptors in the marketplace. What do we do about the incumbent industries, the incumbent companies that have been in the economy for a long time and have invested? How do we make sure that they're treated fairly? But how do we allow for entrance for the disruptors, the people who are changing the marketplace? We talked about automation and what that was going to do with the labor force. We talked about the changing workforce and skills training. And also we talked about perhaps the reality that we're going to have to change the way we distribute wealth. It's not going to be through the workers, perhaps, but with automation and with robots. Perhaps we have to find a way to tax the work that the robot does and how we redistribute it through a basic income to the citizen. In the end, though, it came back to a couple of very important three key features. It came back to housing, transportation, and skills training. Is the training, and in the election, the BC Greens talked quite a bit about the post-secondary system and whether or not we need to take a look at that and how they're delivering the training programs, because just because we've done it one way for decades does not mean that's necessarily going to be the best way to deliver skills training and education in the future. As well, housing and transportation. We will not escape these issues. People are not finding affordable housing. They're not finding affordability in their housing. It's creating a ton of stress, a ton of problems in our society. And transportation. We have a transit study that's been collecting dust for the most part, since 2011, especially on the Saanich Peninsula. We need to start to deal with transportation, and that will be the topic of a future community dialogue in the new year. Not in January, though, because on January the 20th we're going to be talking about healthcare, and I invite you to come and participate. January the 20th from 10 a.m. to noon. We're trying out a different time. We're trying to get it so that we can perhaps have more members of the Gulf Islands communities come over. So we're trying out a Saturday morning dialogue, January the 20th from 10 a.m. to noon. We're going to be focusing on your experiences in healthcare, and we invite you to come out and participate. I also invite you to check out my website, the events page on my website, adamolsen.ca. Go to the events page. You'll see that there's an awful lot of events coming up in January. I invite you to check them out. So there's a little bit more reading below this video on the blog post. Check it out. And this is just the first of many conversations about the changing economy, the changing nature of work, and how we as community leaders can address and create a society that allows for this change, but as well is compassionate and looks after people as the change happens. So we're now pulling into Swartz Bay, so I'm going to end this video. Until next time, Hayekwa.